Hey, a while back, I made this video right here, and I highly recommend you check it out because it really ties into today's video. Now, it wasn't really how to scam a statue collector, but it was things you can do to make sure you're not scammed as a statue collector. Now, I'm kind of doing the videos in reverse order. Today is kind of the prequel to that. Today's video is the reasons that led up to that video. I've been scammed out of $4,000 in statue pre-orders. Do you know how much beer that money could have bought? Especially like cheap beer. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey, welcome to the Extreme channel. My name is Mr. X. We're all about extreme collectibles. Now today I'm actually going to tell you about all the different times I was scammed in the statue collecting world. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to put a spotlight on a bunch of assholes who should literally eat a bag of dicks. And that video I put out about how to scam statue collectors pissed some people off because there are some legit people in the community who do things that scammers may do as well, and I tell you, don't even risk it. But today I'm going to give you examples of why I am right. Though you shouldn't need any. I'm always right. When Mrs. X isn't here, is she? Now before we jump in, I want to pre-qualify what I'm going to talk about. What is the definition of scamming a statue? Well, there's tons of different ways to do it. You could buy a statue from someone who's supposed to ship it to you and they never do. We're not going to talk about that today. I think that's addressed pretty well in the video. While I do have many examples of that, remember, I always pay as PayPal goods and services, so it's pretty easy to get my money back when they never send it. I've had statues arrive broken where the commissioners didn't do anything about it or they took 1 or 2 years to do stuff about it. I'm not going to talk about that today. Although some of the clues I talk about today are indicators whether that commissioner will eventually take care of you. Also, let me pre-qualify. When I talk about commissioners, I'm talking about custom statues. That's what we're going to talk about today, being scammed on custom statues. Although there is risk with licensed statues. I had to do a claim against a licensed statue company when it went out of business. But what we're going to talk about today is when you pre-order a custom statue and the custom commissioner never sends it. Again, I'm not going to give you warning signs on what you should do. You should go back and watch that other video, but you'll see that some of those warning signs are in the stories I'm going to talk about today. And specifically, I'm going to focus on 4 groups. What's crazy is I completely trusted these 4 groups. Even though I used a lot of the precautions I always talk about doing, I still lost over $4,000. And if any of those fucking thieves that were commissioners from these groups are watching this, go fuck yourself. Now, one more disclaimer before we jump in. Do not respond to any of the comments on YouTube that claim to be me. It is not me. I will never ask to speak to you via Telegram. I always talk via email, and I will never, ever, ever ask you for money. But what you can do for me is contact all these fuckers on Telegram and mess with them for like an hour. That's what I do. And then when they find out it's me, they are pissed beyond words. And make sure to tell them to get a fucking job. And I apologize for the language today. I'm pretty passionate. That's what happens when you steal $4,000 from me. But let's dive into the first group. The first custom group is actually called RCB. RCB Collectibles was well known. They were one of the first custom groups that was really popularized because they put out some really good pieces that I actually used to own and still own. They're very well known for their groundbreaking Magneto. Now you see mine right here. Mine was actually custom painted black. But this was the best Magneto on the market for a long time. They put it out, the buyers got it, everybody loved it. It was one of the first pieces that really flipped for a lot of money. Another big piece they put out that I still own and I think is great is this Doom. Now, as a disclaimer, I didn't buy these pieces from them. I bought them from secondhand, so from other buyers. So I originally hadn't dealt directly with them, but eventually I started dealing with them and I had some pieces on order. I actually had 4 different pieces and I would love to show you pictures, but I can't find them anywhere, unfortunately. I had 2 Deadpool pieces that were very similar, a Magneto and a Wolverine. And I had pre-orders or deposits down. Now the thing about custom statues is when you put an order down, a lot of times it's going to be way more than 6 months before it's delivered. So even if you use PayPal protection, and you don't have them refund you and rebuy it at month 5.5 or so, you're screwed if they don't deliver it. As I said, this custom commissioner had some history putting out some big pieces, although there was some controversy around that Doom regarding the edition size. So I paid $1,200 in deposits and things started going south. And when I mean things started going south, they stopped replying to you. There's all this rumor talk in the community, specifically in forums and Facebook. So I reached out and I said, hey, what's going on? And they said, we're not able to make some of these projects, I will give you a refund. And I'm like, great. And they actually refunded me $300 of the $1,200. But then shit literally hit the fan. And sometimes when shit hits the fan, everybody freaks out, maybe justifiably so, and starts raising PayPal claims. Well, then the commissioner told me, hey, my PayPal is now frozen because of all these claims and I can't refund you. Which may or may not be true, although I think PayPal still allows you to refund people if it's frozen. It depends on the level they freeze it. But regardless, this guy never responded again and I lost $900 on those statues. It was a big shakeup in the community. Some videos were made about it. You would think I learned my lesson, but I did not. The next lesson is actually a really painful one for me. It's from a company called Aventelier Arts, and I think I'm saying that right. Aventelier Arts, they made throne pieces, and they only delivered one statue. And unfortunately, I bought that one statue. We're going to get to that. So this is a new company that came out. It was a fellow collector in the community named Adam You Should Eat a Bag of Dicks saying, they teased this little Thanos pedestal. Looked cool to go with Thanos on throne, so a bunch of us pre-ordered it. Then they started coming up with throne pieces. That's the way they were going to go. They came out with this Batman on throne, which I pre-ordered. They also had this Magneto on throne, which again should look familiar because a different studio actually picked it up because the piece of shit commissioner of this studio never paid the sculptor. And then this should look really familiar if you follow the channel, this Black Panther on throne. So they hit me up and said, hey, I have one of the prototypes. We made 2 of them. You have this on order. Do you want to pay the balance for yours? And I will send you this. So I said, absolutely. Well, then unfortunately, this piece of shit ran off with everybody's money, mine included. Like I said, that Batman on throne is actually being made by a legit person, and that Magneto on throne is now being made by a legit person. You should have no qualms about that, other than obvious worries about a custom statue commissioner taking off with your money. This one really pissed me off. Not just because I lost $1,400, but because essentially I vouched for this piece of shit. And again, it just goes back to that video. Even if you get people who vouch for that person, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to deliver. But kind of a lesson learned on this is they never delivered any of the pieces. Always wait until they deliver one. However, as you'll see with the next case, that doesn't always work either. So this next one is by Ascension Studios. Ascension Studios came out with 2 products, and I bought both of them and they were fantastic. One is this Venomized Deadpool. I still have it to today, and it's a pretty damn cool piece. The other is this Infinity Gauntlet Venom. Now this one I actually had issues with. If you remember, they sent it via UPS. UPS actually lost the package. Finally, after nagging the commissioner for 6 months, who wanted me to pay shipping again, they sent out a new package, which at that time I was very grateful for. Well, they're currently producing this Scream piece, or they were producing the Scream piece. But after 3 years and very few updates, which again is always a warning sign when they don't respond to you, people started calling Jason, the commissioner, out. I even called him out on a post, and he said, you know what, after I took care of you on that Venom piece, I was like, you didn't fucking take care of me. I paid for a statue in full, and you delivered it. And he went in and said, I'm starting wild rumors. He's not scamming anyone. Oh, look what happened. He hasn't replied to anybody in 5 or 6 months. And I paid over $900 for this Scream statue, and the fucker took everything. So again, even though they put out pieces in the past, and I remember when this guy came out, he was very transparent and upfront with everybody. But in the end, he was a piece of shit who should eat a bag of dicks. Which brings me to the last one who scammed me out of $2,000 because I put all my eggs in one basket. Now, the reason I put all my eggs in one basket is this custom studio actually put out a ton of pieces. I owned and still own a lot of their pieces. The first one they ever came out with was this Beast. And it was a very well done piece. A lot of people liked it. Then they had some hit and misses, including this Cyclops right here. A Rogue statue. They were doing a whole X-Men line, which was why I ordered more of them. This Magneto. And as you can see, I actually got all of these on the table. They came out with 4 variants of this Hulk. I bought all 4 of them. A Silver Surfer I still own to this day. This Venom statue. And some other ones that I didn't receive, but other people did. So this was a pretty well-established custom community. But again, the same thing started happening. The person stopped responding, which I think that's always a big thing. You know, customs, it takes a long time, sometimes years, not only on buying a new statue and having it made, but getting replacements and things of that nature. But if they stop responding, That is the biggest warning sign in my opinion. So believe it or not, I was actually scammed out of deposits on their Iceman, Gambit, Storm, Wolverine, Jean Grey, Apocalypse, Juggernaut, Toad, totaling over $2,000. Now, usually with statue commissioners, there's kind of one main person who runs the show and then a secondary person. Now, the main one who ran the show on all these disappeared. This last group had a secondary person who started to do damage control when the main person disappeared. He promised he'd pay everybody back, but he was a liar as well. Again, both had pretty solid reputations in the statue community, not only as commissioners because they delivered so many projects, but as buyers. They were big buyers as well. Now, here's the truth about all these pieces of shit. I don't think they started out as pieces of shit. I may be wrong, but I think something happened in their life, whether it was they made some bad decisions on their own, maybe somebody else made some bad decisions that fell on them, or maybe life just happened. And then they decided to take the cowardly way out and steal everybody's money, which I think is unforgivable. I may be wrong, but I think at one time these people were probably upstanding people. They're not now. Now they're sitting at home with your and my money eating a bag of dicks. But that's why I'm cautious. I don't think this should exclude you from wanting to buy custom statues at all. I have dealt with probably 100 different studios and 95% of them have delivered. Some go above and beyond where they'll lose money for the customer. So I don't want this video to scare people out of buying custom statues. I will continue to buy custom statues. I will continue to put the safeguards that I talk about in that previous video. Again, go check that out because I'm telling you, there are some good practices you should do with custom commissioners, but just buying and selling in general, especially nowadays. Scammers are at an all-time high. So just be careful, take care of yourself, and more importantly, if you ever see one of those guys, punch them in the face as hard as you fucking can for me. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't, and you usually don't, please like this video. That way more people will see it. People need to know about these POSs. But in the meantime, take care of yourself, be cautious, and I'll talk to you soon.